And if we ask the stars what they mean, what would they say back to us? Welcome! You want to go on a card journey today? Give me some of your time, and I'll give you some of your story. Well, let's see what the cards say. Hey there, card readers. Welcome to Koi Plays Tarot. My name is Koi, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. This is going to be a video on a series on my channel called Learn With Me, where we explore what all 78 cards in the tarot deck mean. Here now, exploring the eights, the Devil, the card of Capricorn, and Temperance, the card of Sagittarius. So, as a quick set of reminders, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That way, when uploads are made, you can see what the stars are trying to say to you. Also, if interested, individual reads are back up and open, so either message or email me directly. Link is on main, we'll set that up, okay? What are we doing? So, in this series, again, Learn With Me, we examine what all the cards mean. As the order that I have in most of my videos being water, earth, fire, and air, represented by cups, pentacles, wands, and swords, respectively, what do these things mean? What do they have in common? Because trust me, even though they seem vastly different, all likewise aligned cards, particularly in the minor arcana, have a very similar theme. Today with the eights, we're going to be looking at this little thing that we call fate. What is choice? How do we move in empowerment? How do we embody our values, our beliefs, and the things we want to move towards, right? And in knowing that, that comes in different forms, right? Water, as a reminder, is the emotional depths of what you feel within self, what can be shared with others. Pentacles, with earth being more the material things, the solidified, the tangible. Fire with wands, the drive of the human spirit. What do we want to do? How do we want to move with it? Is it engulfing, or is it, kind of a little flame or ember right now? And swords being, cut fast, intellectualism, let's make some decisions. So let's start with the minor, we'll move to the major, and we'll understand how fate plays itself out here. Starting with the eight, we are looking at the Eight of Cups. I think this is a very beautiful representation, because the Eight of Cups that we associate with the concept of fate, the Eight of Cups has to do with walking away, and not walking away as if you were the one that's being abandoned. That's more along the lines of the Five of Pentacles, because you were the one left behind. Eight of Cups means we are leaving something behind intentionally, right? There's an element of choice there. And when we talk about the Eight of Cups, we're understanding that I can't really gain much else out of this. This is a little bit too much for me right now, or maybe the best thing I could do is extricate myself from the situation, right? So no matter how I feel about it, which could be tinged with, feelings of sorrow and regret, I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it means that with the Eight of Cups, I'm going to take all my things and I'm going to be the one who makes its decision. I'm moving on. Right, and that's different from the Six of Swords, which just indicates the action of choice. The Eight of Cups represents more so the emotional, shoring up to the choice of, well, we're here, what do we do with it? And when you have the Eight of Cups, it oftentimes means you're the one walking away, if not having to leave a situation behind or something that is not ultimately designed in your best interest anymore. Going to the Eight of Pentacles, I like that. I like the way the Eight of Pentacles is always portrayed. Normally represented by some type of masonry, whether that be or vocational training like pottery, a seamstress, etc., depending on the deck that you're using. The Eight of Pentacles represents mastery and prowess, i.e., we are good at our job. We're very good at our job. Or it's a situation where we have a lot more knowing, even more knowing that sometimes we give ourselves credit for. Right, the Eight of Pentacles, what we have with our talents and our efforts actually amount to everything that we're working for. It amounts to a lot. And oftentimes this is a card that's almost immediately associated with career reads, but just a card more associated with the idea that, no, you are the person of reference in the room. When people are asking questions, they're looking towards you. Right? The Eight of Pentacles does not come without its earning. And so if we pull this up, particularly in a career read or just in general, it's a situation that you know a lot about. If not, you are a primary player in. Eight of Wands. Almost always depicted by a bunch of wands in the skyline or beyond the clouds. Direct communication, intentionality, and kind of putting our money where our mouth is, right? The Eight of Wands, if we have fire being the home element here, this is where my spirit is going. This is how it flies out. This is what I'm going to do. Not just a wavering thought anymore. Not just, passive kind of Page of Wands energy, whereas we're optimistic about it, but no, this is boom, 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 boom. Like all jets a go. We are flying towards that intentionality, and that could be, finally getting the courage to speak with somebody that you had conflict with in a while, or having the bravery to talk to somebody. Right? Is the active intentionality that we're setting our mind to, is saying, no, the only one that's going to change the situation is us. Direct communication. Direct involvement, direct intentionality is not going to go anywhere unless we make that choice. And last, the Eight of Swords. And I also mention this card a lot when it gets pulled in readings, because it can get easily misconstrued, and the point behind it is not originally what people think, at least based off of seeing it, right? So the Eight of Swords is almost always depicted as a person being kidnapped or in bondage in an open air cage of swords. And as I say in many of my videos, if you've ever seen me draw it, can that person or being, can they climb out? Yes. Will it probably be painful on their way out? Also, yes, there's a very real possibility of getting cut, scraped, hurt, etc., etc. But it boils back to the same point. We're in the situation, if then, so what? What do we do with the circumstance that we're given, right? In that way, I hate the phrase chosen blindness, because it oftentimes, gets conflated with disability, and that's not entirely the case here. But with the Eight of Swords, we understand the situation and we're actively looking away from the most obvious answer that's right in front of us, right? Therefore, we have an answer. It's just not the one that we like. It really oftentimes isn't. And so what do we have to say when we're not powerless? We have a choice to make. And it's not like, oh, I'm picking between cabbage and broccoli at a grocery store. That's just options. Choice here, when our backs push up against the wall, when we have all these things in front of us, and there's an obvious answer we don't want to look at, maybe that also has a big indicator of what the truth actually could be or is. Right? All these things corresponding with elements of fate and what we do with our lives. So those are the minor. We're going to come back to that when we do the reverse. Going to the, do I have this in the wrong order? Boom. 8, I like that more. Let's start with Temperance first. 14 in the major arcana, represented by the sign Sagittarius. Temperance is almost always depicted as an angel, oftentimes referred to as the Archangel Michael, mixing two different cups of liquid or water together. The Waymaker, Miracle Worker, etc., etc. But we are going to forge new paths. It'll just take some time. And it's not as if, I just go to the gym and do a little bit of lifting today. It's the internal attitude and monologue and everything about my being that says, athleticism is me. You see how that's the difference, right? One person does the gym but despises it. The other, no, this is my life, this is where I belong, right? And so Temperance, it takes time to get there, because it's not just a task list, it's an attitudinal shift. Internally, mentally, energetically, it's a lot to get there. And that's why it always incorporates an element of time. What I like about this card oftentimes, beyond oftentimes being depicted with an angel by a river, in another deck that I use for individual one-on-one reads, they have a DJ where one side has some really, you can see it's really energetic. It has the color of orange in the background, really fire type of tracks. And the other side is water and very smooth, very palatable. Like, it doesn't look as energetic as the other side. And then the DJ is going like this in the background. And it shows how these different elements get mixed together and then they create the beat. Right. So when we blend these things, it takes time, it takes practice. But when we get there, we know we got it right. Next. One of the big 3 cards that get some of the worst rap, we're talking about the devil today, as represented by the zodiac sign Capricorn. Ooh boy. This, above all the cards in the tarot card deck, I think this is one of the big three besides the Tower and Death that gets one of the worst raps. Let me bring everything to the forefront and bring a caveat out. This is not talking about the Judeo-Christian version of what the devil means. That's not what we're looking at. That's not the intentionality here. The devil here, it can only have as much power as you give to it, right? So in that way, even in the context of the tarot card deck, the devil, it points out the obvious a lot. And in that way, it is one of the most honest cards in a tarot deck. It's just honest about everything we don't like about ourselves. So we got this ongoing situation over here, could be a friend group, a conflict, etc. And then if this card comes out, it oftentimes means, hey, just keep playing along, right? Just make it easier. Don't do what would be beneficial for yourself or anybody involved. It comes in multiple different forms, but also it tells us, you want honesty? Here it is. Here's what you're not doing. Here's what we don't like about ourselves. Here's the obvious answer that everybody else can see, but we don't want to admit to. And sometimes it is tied to the Eight of Swords, but that has to do more with the having it ping on our radar versus quote unquote the devil on our shoulder, right? The devil here, I think it went long here today. It was raining out earlier. Oh well, let's finish this out. The devil here being, it will have power over us until we say the hard thing out loud. It's not going to move, it's not going to change, it's not going to alter until we actually start to address what's going on within. And so it's going to keep on ruling over us until we make the active choice to move beyond it or try to understand what's going on and then try to confront it, right? It's meant to be a guiding tool, not a consuming force. And so let us flip these things in the reverse. Oh my gosh, long hair, why are you doing this to me right now? I'll have to see this in video edits. In the reverse, same thing with the concepts of fate, now kind of altered. So with the Eight of Cups in the reverse, remember it's starting at the minor, going to the major. From the bottom up, the Eight of Cups in the reverse, still the choice of walking away, but now the emotional, everything that gets hit with it. We're only looking at the bad things because of it, right? We're still having to walk away, but it's like we were shunned out of a friend group. We no longer have access to community, and we're really feeling the loneliness and kind of spiraling. Doesn't change the action. We still made the choice to walk away, but now we have to ask, okay, everything that I lost. Whereas with the Eight of Cups upright, it was a choice of everything that more so I could gain. In the reverse, okay, cup half empty, hey, it is where it is right now, and I'm just wishing that it was better, right? So that really captures the heart of the matter, the emotional grief that it takes to actually go through with the choice to leave. Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. And maybe this was me right now before we started recording, but again, it rained outside earlier, so this is why they're doing the lawn mowing outside. Hey, we're gonna get through it. If the Eight of Pentacles upright represents mastery of practice and talent, in reverse, it indicates, oh, you know better, right? You're way more gifted than this. You're either selling yourself short, underplaying your game, not living up to your fullest potential, or in some situations could be considered playing dumb, right? You know more about the situation. Come on, we've been through this before. We're not going to pretend as if we haven't been around the block a few times, right? And in this way, the Eight of Pentacles in reverse also holds you accountable, because with talent and power comes the ability to discern and make choice, right? We can do better because we have done better. Eight of Wands in the reverse. This is a total blockade. Total blockage. We are not getting to the point where kind of do-si-doing, dancing around it, whatever you want to call it. But whatever was supposed to be an easy, direct line of communication between you and another, or direct intentionality, has come to a harsh and complete stop. Boom. We're not speaking towards our intentionality, our purpose, or our goal. We're just saying, hey, we're kind of here. And oftentimes when this happens, if it is getting led to be meandering for too long, it becomes a total blockade. That was hard to get out. This indicates the stopping point, a stop sign, but that also shows there's different directions that can be gone, it can be taken with, right? So the Eight of Wands in reverse is never meant to be a total stopping point. However, if we don't do anything with it, it becomes the permanence of that story. Eight of Swords in the reverse. This one I very much like. Again, the concept of fate and how we choose. Whereas the Eight of Swords upright represented us not wanting to admit to the obvious answer. The Eight of Swords in reverse is I climb out of the cage. I don't like it. It probably is going to hurt if I'm not careful, but hey, it is where it is. I got to make choices, right? So the Eight of Swords in the reverse takes their power back. They look at the obvious choice in a tough scenario. They weigh the options and just say, hey, I got to do what I got to do. And for that, they realize they have more power, more capability, more capacity than they originally gave themselves credit for. Right? They moved from chosen powerlessness as if they couldn't do anything towards, you know what, I may not be able to do everything, but I can do something. And I need to hold myself accountable to get myself out of the situation. When the Eight of Swords in reverse comes up, oftentimes it's like, you know, what's that phrase? She got her groove back, right? Of, no, we're going to take the role of the driver's seat again. We're going to be our own director one more time. Let's give it a shot, right? Now, the two major arcana in the reverse. Ooh, whereas this was, you know, the way that is made with healing, time, and temperance. Again, the term of temperance or time. In the reverse, a lot of ways were mixed, and we're none the better for it, right? This is oftentimes comes up in the realm of so many possibilities were made around you and we didn't make a choice. So it's like, the universe is giving you so many gifts and so many opportunities, and I want to be clear here, the intentional squandering of it. If it was, hey, I tried, it didn't work out for me, or hey, I realized this wouldn't be tangible for me right now, no matter how hard I did it, then that is still the acknowledgement that we did it, right? Here, it's like we could have got our license, we could have gotten our degree, we could have risen up in a company, you know, whatever advancement or evolution you have in your life, and we're saying, no, purposefully, I do not want that. And there was a clear and obvious change that could have been made very easily, and we actively refuted it, right? For the Devil in the reverse, easiest way I can put this, truth set you free, first it'll piss you off. Right? So if the Devil upright represented everything we don't like about ourselves, the thoughts that nag us, our internal monologue that doesn't go anywhere, and the things that we kind of use as self-detriment and eating away, no, this is us taking power back from that Devil, but it also has to be, again, and this is why this card is kind of associated with Eight of Swords, even though it's a cross elemental, because this is earth and this is air. Whereas Eight of Swords is taking, you know, power back in a situation. This is, okay, we got to admit everything of how we got here, right? Are we battling addiction? Are we, you know, still trying to fight for a situation that no longer serves us? Are we keeping a friendship alive that's way past its due date, right? What about it did we actively and intentionally play a part in? And how do we, you know, reconcile the fact of how much of an active participant we were? If all those facts add up, then we know exactly how to take our power back, and therefore it cannot control us anymore, right? Is it the prettiest answer? Just like these two cards, whether that be upright or reverse, is it the prettiest answer? Oftentimes, no, not at all. But is it the truth? And that is yeah, it is. I'm not even gonna pretend if it's a yes. So sideways, again, all relating to the concept of fate. What does it mean to walk away? What does it mean to hold power and hold prestige? What does it mean to directly move in your path and intention and walkway in life? And what does it mean to be in a tough circumstance? For the majors, what does it mean to let time heal all? And how can I make that better when I actively participate? And what vices or things control me? And how do we start to address that? So again, like I said, quick video. This was about the eights and two major arcanas. But the resolution here being card readers that no matter what the 78 cards say in the deck, particularly the eights let us know we have a life to go live, right? I could read whatever I want to read on these tables or whatever I happen to come across. It doesn't matter because life happens outside these walls, right? And it happens outside my videos too. We have a role to play in what we call fate. That's what I got in the video today, card readers. I hope this conversation helped. And yeah, um, when we start to give up too much of our autonomy and too much of our choice to just say, hey, it's completely out of my hands, that's when everything really starts to fly out of our hands, right? The eights remind us that we have a part to play no matter what life throws at us. So will we let it eat away with us, or will we let time and practice make us evolve? It's all our choice. Let's live it rightfully. That's what I got in the quote unquote read for today. And yeah, beyond what we choose, card readers, let's see what the cards say. I'll see you around, okay? Take care.